Hello everyone. We are live in YouTube and Instagram. Hello. So today we are going to discuss about another parenting mistake that I made. We started off with this series last week, and last week I discussed about one of the parenting mistakes that I made, and I'm so happy to know that it was useful to you. Just as it said, everything happens for a reason. I'm happy that my parenting mistakes are useful to all of you out there. So last week we saw one of the mistakes that I made, and today we'll be discussing another mistake that I made in my early parenting. And we are live in both YouTube and Instagram. Okay, just waiting for a few more people to join to go ahead with my parenting mistake. So, is there any parenting mistake that you have done? Let me know in the chat box. And if so, have you corrected it? And some of the mistakes, it's like we won't be able to recognize at that time. But as we keep upskilling ourselves, at one point we realize that, okay, what I've been doing till now is a mistake. And that is when we start the correction process. And the knowledge is not just the only thing that leads to correction. Knowledge is just the beginning. As we realize that, okay, the things that we are doing is wrong, and once we decide to correct it, then actually the real struggle starts, the process of getting it corrected. That is also a struggle. Okay. Shamin says Shamin has made lots of mistakes. Yes, that is the case with almost everyone. What about others? And I had told last week also that parenting was not my area of interest until my marriage. But once I got pregnant, then this became my only area of interest. So I decided to upskill myself through various books, and also the real experience that came in after I got children. That was that was a real learning period, I would say. Like, we tried several things, some failed, some we were successful in a few things. And at one time I was dedicating my entire life for my children. But even then I made several mistakes, especially with my eldest one, Isa. And the process of correction took some time because I was late to realize the mistakes. And after realizing it, took some time to get back also. And so here I am sharing those mistakes with you so that your learning process becomes a little more easier. Okay, so we'll get into it, I guess. When my child was small, whenever he falls down or cries, or if he's sad at something, as a mother, I get that instant urge to stop his crying. We all mothers get it, right? Um, I didn't want to see some of us try to stop the cry through by offering them some things, right? Like chocolates or ice creams or some material stuff. I didn't want to do that, and I didn't want to scold him also. Scolding and threatening is another way how we try to put an end to their cries. But I didn't want to do that also, because that was not the kind of relation that I wanted to build with him, and I didn't want to lie to him, because offering materials like even if it is something small like chocolates, that will get him addicted to that. And I wanted everything to be based on values, so lying was not in my list. So what I thought is, I thought last time also I shared uh, uh, a thing that I was doing which I thought is good, instead of punishing and all. But that was a mistake, right? This is also something quite similar. um, so I was thinking, like, I don't want to shout at him or be harsh on him. So what I thought is, if I can make his pain negligible, like if I can make him feel that what he's worrying about is nothing, if I can make him feel that, okay, he's worrying on something that he shouldn't be worrying on, then he won't cry. So what I did is, when he gets hurt and cries and comes to me, I tell him, there is nothing. Why are you crying for? There is nothing in your hand. And if there is a wound, I used to say, oh, this is such a small wound that won't pain much. How can you cry for such a small thing? And he used to stop his cry a majority of the time. When he's sad because of something, maybe say he lost his ball. I know he looked sad. There, instead of being with him in his feelings or in his emotions, I used to reject that. Like, these are just small, small stuff that you shouldn't be worrying about. Why should you worry for this? Do you think that this is a nice way to go ahead? I thought it is a nice way because what I focused on was I'm not punishing him. I'm not shouting at him to stop his crying. Um, I'm not telling him lies. I'm not bribing him with material stuff. Those are the positives that I saw in this method. But then, as we look into it, it is actually when he's feeling something, when he's having a strong feeling inside, I'm actually rejecting his emotions there. Instead of being with him in his emotions and being by his side and acknowledging it, I'm actually rejecting his emotions. How I realized this is one day I came across a people management article on people management, and I read about the power of acknowledging the emotions of people, how it unites people, how it brings hearts together, and how it improves relationships. So when I read about that, that was completely from a organizational perspective and from a um, friend's perspective, like building relationships and all. But when I read it, I could quickly connect to, or yeah, I could connect to my isa there, because I recollected that in my childhood my mother always used to acknowledge me throughout my childhood. I can think of several situations. Okay, I'm so sorry, a call came. Yeah, I could think of several situations where she acknowledged my feelings and emotions. So there was a feeling inside me that she can understand me when I'm crying or when I'm feeling bad. She'll understand me because whenever I'm going through, she made sure that I'm heard. She has never felt me bad for feeling something. So words like that is a tough decision to make, instead of why are you so confused? Just do this even though you just lost 2 marks. It is hard to accept at times. So instead of saying that why are you fussing around for that just 2 marks, if we can just be with them if they are sad, if we can be with them and acknowledge that, that relation will be built. So when I read of acknowledging the feelings, I could connect immediately to my mother's attitude, and I knew I'm making a mistake there with my child. But it was not something that I could correct immediately because it had become my language. We mothers, especially with the eldest one, we tend to keep repeating the things that we used right from the beginning. So whenever he's in a bad mood, I made sure that he realizes that that is something valid that he's going through. That was where I wanted to get to. And also when he got his younger sister, got his younger brother at when he was 1.5 years old. So they are all nearby, my four children are nearby. And though the last one is 7 years now. Okay, and when he got a sibling, I could reflect that, as I said in the earlier mistake also, that is one of the times when I realized that no, this is not something that we want to pass on to our child. So that was the point. This article combined with my experience with my mother, and how Isa was behaving to Musa. These were the things that really shook me hard, and that was a time when I wanted to make a difference. So I should say that even though it may appear very simple, like when your child is having a bad time and cry, fussing around for things that feel such a silly matter, it is hard to acknowledge. It may seem simple, but when the situation arises, it is quite hard to acknowledge. I remember one day when kids were just before bedtime. One of my children, she had to take a tablet. That was Fatima, and Fatima was finding it hard to swallow. So the easiest thing and the common language that first comes to my mind is, "This is nothing to worry about. You just take the medicine and swallow it. What is there so much to fuss around?" You can't go without taking it. You have a fever and you need to. But then it was hard for me at that time to bring about a change and acknowledge her feelings at that time, and to tell her that it is hard to swallow the tablet, and that is the same for me also. Even now I find it very difficult to swallow tablets. So I told her that also. I also find it very sad, very hard to do it, take medicines. And I told her the tip that I am doing. Either I close my eyes and swallow it in one go, or I use some juice along with the medicine. Okay, so these were the two things that I used to do. So as I told her that it is something hard, and I also had the same thing, what is being established there is, okay, I'm going through something that is quite normal. When that feeling is acknowledged, the next step is you start thinking, okay, how can I deal with that? Instead of this, if we start rejecting their feelings right from the beginning, that is when they try to, they may cry harder. They may make a bigger fuss because they want to somehow convey to you the emotions that they are going through, and they feel like you are not understanding. So that was one incident that recently happened, and it worked. She swallowed it in a second, and my third one, Aisha, she gave a scoop of peanut butter just after that to get rid of the taste from the mouth. So this reaction was in fact hard for me, but I made sure that all the time that I don't lose on this. And I don't say that I hit the target 100%, but at least 97% I make sure that I hit it. And this acknowledgement has done miracle in relationship with all my children, especially Isa, with whom I could see the drastic change, because I was very sure about, I could see the difference, like um, before after situation when I didn't use acknowledgement and when I started using acknowledgement. And when he acknowledges me back, now he's 12 years old. So I should say almost everything that we started or we thought of communicating, we are getting that back from him. And when he said that to me, you look tense today, we can do it, you can. When he acknowledges me and gives me that motivation, I feel so happy because I was able to pass that to Isa before, before making a big mistake, even though I made a mistake in the beginning. So I would like you all to acknowledge your children's feelings before heading to solutions and corrections. The moment they go through a hard time, it is not the solution that they want. They actually need someone to hear them, someone who can understand them. And once they get that kind of a comfort, once they feel heard, then they start thinking about solutions, and that is when you can guide them and you can pitch in your solutions as well. By the time their ears will be open for solutions, till then whatever we say, it won't they won't take it. So it's always the action that is followed by the feeling that is a problem. Like a child feeling sad is not a problem, but then hitting the child next to him, that is a problem, right? So for influencing that action, the first step is we need to acknowledge their feelings. We need to make them feel heard. We need to show that we understand them so that they feel connected to us. And I have a few more mistakes to share that, as we said last week, I'll be sharing it one in 1 week. So see you all next week with another parenting mistake that I made. And I want you all to register for the Parenting with Patience session that is upcoming tomorrow. I guess the joining link is in stories, in Parenting Kring's stories. Please head to it and register for the webinar, because that is a free webinar. Their psychologist and parent mentor in Kring, Khadija, will be guiding you on how to parent with patience, because patience is something that we need to keep boosting all throughout our parenting life. Thank you all for joining. Bye bye.